for those who aren't familiar with what you do and your energy, like let's tell the listeners what you had up your sleeve in Miami. So like, what'd you put together?
Yeah, so I mean, we run a group inside of EXP called Fast Forward. We have about 12,000 people that are part of our group, and we
I
just
am.
wanted to throw a party for everybody in the group to just have some fun. So we bought out Live nightclub in Miami, which is one of the best venues in all of Miami, where people keep their clothes on. There's some other great venues where they don't necessarily keep their clothes on because Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
And we hired Flo Rida to come in and do a special performance, which was insane. So we sold out the venue, had a ton, hundreds of people there partying until we it was early, right? I think we capped at like 1 o'clock. Like it was an early end. But then the event was over, and then we ended up going out with Flo and his whole crew. And I think I got back to my hotel room at like 7:30 in the morning.
Oh,
So the sun was coming up when I got back to the room. It was a very, very fun night.
oh.
This is everything they never told you about real estate with the AI queen, Carrie Soave, sharing the tech, tools, and lead gen strategies that top producers won't tell you about. Now, here's your host, Carrie.
Welcome back, everybody. I am here with a very special guest who's going to drop bombs all over your stale ass real estate strategy today. That's what Kyle's going to do. Kyle Whissel, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. We met back in Miami briefly at a mastermind, and I've been just waiting to get you on here. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here, and I'm stoked to get back to Miami soon too. I love that city. That place is magical.
Okay, so one thing I didn't do at EXPCon was you had like a big party. And I heard all about this, and I didn't go because I was on stage the next morning and I was in a little bit of a panic. But I regret not going because I saw what GoGo looked like the next day, and her and Dwayne had so much fun. So just kind of like for those who aren't familiar with what you do and your energy, like let's tell the listeners what you had up your sleeve in Miami. So like, what'd you put together?
Yeah, so I mean, we run a group inside of EXP called Fast Forward. We have about 12,000 people that are part of our group, and we just wanted to throw a party for everybody in the group to just have some fun. So we bought out Live nightclub in Miami, which is one of the best venues in all of Miami, where people keep their clothes on. There's some other great venues where they don't necessarily keep their clothes on because Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
So we rented that out, and then we hired Flo Rida to come in and do a special performance, which was insane. So we sold out the venue, had a ton, hundreds of people there partying until we it was early, right? I think we capped at like 1 o'clock. Like it was an early end. But then the event was over, and then we ended up going out with Flo and his whole crew. And I think I got back to my hotel room at like 7:30 in the morning.
Oh.
So the sun was coming up when I got back to the room. It was a very, very fun night.
Wow. Okay. So I need you to do me a favor. I am coming to whatever you are putting together this year in Miami, and I need you to save me a spot because I'm not missing it this year. You'll love my husband is like, he's got big energy. Everybody at EXP loves him for a reason. And he is like the party animal. So this is like right up his alley as well. So
we will make it happen. We already have Liv locked in again, and now we're just working on the talent. So it should be fun.
Who are you after?
50 Cent, Ludacris, Rick Ross, T-Pain, T.I., something like that.
Oh my goodness. I'm so there. I'm so there. So you've built something like impressive is not even the word. Just to like let everybody know, I am a part of Fast Forward Movement, Honey Badgers, Team GoGo at EXP. And like the one thing I tell people who do want to join me, I'm like, yeah, I have the best upline in the entire company. Like hands down, you cannot beat it. So you mentioned the numbers. Like, tell me, I think, was it last year that you were like the top team at EXP? Like, tell me a little bit about what you've done.
Yeah, so our team, Whissel Realty Group, we're based out of San Diego. We have over 100 agents on our team. Last year, we were number one in the world for EXP. So we did 782 transactions for 609 million in volume. And then Fast Forward, which is our group inside of EXP, it spans all 50 states and I think like 8 countries now. There's almost 12,000 people in there. And last year was responsible for almost 120,000 transactions for 55 billion in volume, which is crazy. So Fast Forward was a brokerage based on the Real Trends list that comes out. We would be number 5 in the country if Fast Forward was a brokerage on its own, which is pretty wild.
Congratulations. I love those numbers. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about where I come from. I'm in Canada. I'm not sure if you knew this, but I'm Canadian. And it was GoGo who opened my eyes up to the possibilities, because up here in Canada, Americans do things differently. It just is what it is. You guys are more aggressive. You guys have more, I'm more on the cutting edge of new tech and new systems and strategy. And I've always really aligned with that. I've always like tried to model my strategies and concepts in my business from American companies. And it's kind of relaxed up here. And you don't know what you don't know. When I was with Remax, and you don't know what you don't know. There was, our top producers are our top producers and they do really, really well. But when you meet people pulling in the numbers that you're just talking about, you cannot unsee and unhear that. And now there's no more excuse, Kyle, of I didn't know, right? You know now, and what are you going to do about it? And like, if I can be 100% honest, I joined EXP as a production agent 3 years ago, but I quickly saw from my American upline what was possible outside of production, which is what had me build my companies that I have now. And I want to be really blunt, everybody listening. I could not have built the companies and the numbers around AI that I have done without joining EXP. Bottom line, like, no word of like, just, you need to be around the people that have already done it. You need to be in an environment where we help each other, and you need to have access to the largest number of agents, bottom line. And there's no other brokerage. So very, very, very impressive. I really like that. It's truly, truly impressive what you guys have built. And is it your partner, Dan Bier? Are you guys partners in Fast Forward Movement and on the team? Like, how does that work?
So we are 50-50 partners with Fast Forward, and then we also launched that with Mary Maloney. And then we still have our own respective teams in San Diego. So Mary has her team, Dan has his team, I have my team. So technically we're competitors on a local level, but then we collaborate on a global level with Fast Forward. But at the same time, we share everything. I think one of the reasons Fast Forward's gotten as big as it is because even before Fast Forward, I've always had that mindset of just share everything. And John Cheplack, somebody that we have all been coached by, like, he talks about the fact you have to make deposits in the relationship equity account. And so all the sharing that we had done for years and years and years before coming to EXP, all that sharing was just those deposits. So then when we made the move to EXP, we had so much equity in that bank account from all the deposits.
Yeah.
That's allowed us to make a lot of the withdrawals that we have. And by withdrawals, that's building this organization that we built. I don't think this organization would be anywhere near as big as it is today had we not made all those deposits for a number of years prior to coming over here. So that's the thing that's always just worked out really well in my life, is the more you put out there, the more that you give, the more you're going to get. Sounds cliche AF, but it's so true.
Yeah.
You just have to be willing to give. And then now the thing that I love is that when I give, I get to win with my friends, which winning on your own is cool, but winning with your friends is way more cool. And so the thing now is, like, as I help other people succeed and they win, I'm going to win right there with them. And so I don't have to worry about myself so much. I actually worry more about everybody else. But when I worry about them and they win, and that's just an amazing thing. And that's what I love about the model so much.
Oh, absolutely. Now, a lot of agents struggle with agent attraction. So let's talk a little bit about strategy. For somebody like yourself, you just told us exactly how you've been able to grow the organization, and it's through the deposits put into the relationships before, like a long time ago. For me, I have, a database of tens of thousands of agents that I've accumulated over the last year. So I have agents reaching out to me. But how would an agent with a, production, business that is maybe they're making a couple $100,000, really great, they're doing really well, but they don't have, the coaching or something extra that a lot of sponsors are offering and a lot of orgs are offering. What would be your advice to them on how to get started in agent attraction? What should they be leading with?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is let's look at the root word of like attraction. You have to be attractive if you want to attract. And so you got to decide there's really only two ways to do that. One is to produce and sell a ton of freaking homes, which is a big thing that we do, right? We're number one in the world now with the company. People want to learn from us, right? What the hell are you doing? How are you selling? This year we'll sell over $800 million worth of real estate. They're like, how the hell are you doing that? That's attractive, right? Mm-hmm. Alternatively, you're doing it in a different way, right? With the AI and the coaching and everything that you're doing, that's attractive too. So there's different ways to be attractive, but it's really hard to attract people if you're not attractive. And so you got to think about what are you doing to make yourself attractive? Because I don't chase anybody. Like I've never cold called anybody. Like everything I have done has all been pulling people in as opposed to like going out and grabbing them. And that's fun, right? It's not recruiting at that point. It's literally attracting. The recruiting is not fun. Attracting is fun because now people are coming in to you because they see the value you're providing or the production that you've done, and they want to be a part of your world. And that makes it fun. And it doesn't feel like work. It's actually a really, really enjoyable experience. So I would tell everybody who's watching or listening right now, like, think about that. What are you doing to make yourself attractive? Yeah. And if you're not selling any homes, go sell a ton of homes and then tell the story of how you went from selling no homes. Like we have a girl who joined our group a year ago, brand new. She was a coach with Tom Ferry and then got her license and went from a brand new agent to selling 10 million in a year. That's attractive AF. Like people want to learn. And now the person who's going to call her is not the same person who's going to call me. There's a certain type of person that calls me. That's not the same person that's going to call her. Her name's Lindsay. Lindsay's going to get the phone calls if she can be smart and tell her story publicly. Hey, this is where I was. This is the struggle that I was facing. This is what I did. This is how I did it. If you want to learn more, hit me up. And she's going to attract a lot of people that are newer agents that want to start their career off and sell 10 million in their first year. So she's made herself attractive by going from 0 to 10 million. And then also by telling her story simultaneously, like that's a really solid blueprint to follow for somebody who's brand new, never sold anything before. And then alternatively, somebody like Parker Pemberton in our group, the guy was 40 million when he joined us. And now he did 440 million last year. And this year he'll do 700 plus million. Same thing. He's had a big growth curve. He just has to tell that story. Yeah. And where people make the mistake is think about like everybody in their life at some point, maybe, the analogy I always think about is like me and my buddies are sitting on a bridge over like a body of water and we're all sitting there. We all want to jump off that bridge, but like we're all scared to go first because like we don't know if it's deep enough or is it too high or whatever. And eventually somebody gets the courage and like jumps and they go first. And then everybody else is watching like, is he all right? How's it going down there? And they're watching. And if that person comes back up and is like, fuck yeah, that was awesome, everybody else immediately jumps. But if that person jumps in the water and they don't come back up, now you got a problem, right? Nobody else is jumping with you. They're terrified. Last thing they're going to do is jump. If you just jumped and you didn't come back up, right? Like they're going to be terrified. Yeah. So you've got to think like, are you putting yourself out there? Are you telling people it's fucking awesome over here? Or are you just hiding under the surface where nobody could see you? So as people make this move, if they're not sharing their story and talking about how awesome it is, they're missing a massive opportunity.
Yeah. You know what I'm finding too? Because I coach clients obviously to use AI for production, but as of the last 6 months, I've been coaching team leaders on agent attraction with AI, which is kind of cool because they have what it takes to attract. They have that attractiveness. I find that a lot of them are in paralysis. It's like, because once I give them the AI tools and they're using them, they're like, I knew this. Like, I knew this is what I had to do. I knew I should be doing this or could be doing this. These are great ideas. I don't know why I didn't come up with them myself. I feel like sometimes people just need to be told what to do, right? Like they just need, like, it's almost like not everybody is like this, Kyle, but like a lot of people put a lot of trust in what AI says. That's why agents tell their sellers, I use AI and this is what your home is worth. And the sellers are like, okay, it's a done deal then. But then there's the other half too, right? But I feel like it's kind of the same thing. I feel like a lot of agents who should be attracting are maybe in paralysis over it. And it's a confidence factor of what they're putting out there and how they're putting it out there. Just being told by somebody, this is what you should be doing. And I know you already know this, but now I'm telling you, it just makes all the difference as well.
Yeah, I mean, some people, they just need a blueprint to follow. And the smart ones will follow the blueprint, and the dumb ones will think they can do it better than the blueprint, and they'll get the results they deserve.
I love blueprints and frameworks.
Yeah.
My new favorite hobby to do is take people that I really idolize that have built something really significant and use AI to break down their concepts into frameworks and then building AI tools that can duplicate.
Love it.
I'm such a geek. So I want to talk about, you have pigs, okay? And you used to have a nonprofit. Like, I need you to tell me about this because everybody who listens to my podcast, they know that AI is my passion, but it's not my purpose. My purpose is to rescue all of the animals that I possibly can in the world. Like, that is my purpose. So I want to hear all about this.
Well, I think right now, our current rescue, we're rescuing tadpoles because we have a puddle by our house and there were frogs and they laid eggs and now there's tadpoles. And my wife decided we needed aquariums to put the tadpoles in so we can raise them into frogs so that we can then go and release them when they are ready back into the stream nearby. That's just how we roll. So we had 2 dogs and my wife wanted a 3rd dog. And I was like, I don't want we have enough dogs. And then I saw somebody walking a pig in Charleston. I was out at a conference with Boomtown. I saw somebody walking a pig. I was like, that's cool. I was like, hey, what do you think about getting a pig? My wife was like, all right, let's do it. And so we got like a mini pig. Turns out there's no such thing as a mini pig. A mini pig is also just known as a baby pig that's going to get a lot freaking bigger. And so our mini pigs that we got, that like you could fit them in the palm of your hand when we got them, they're like 200 pounds now. Like 200 pounds is mini. Like that is a small pig. And it turns out a lot of people got duped into believing there's such a thing as a mini pig.
Oh, yeah.
And so what ends up happening, at least here in San Diego, 1 of 3 things happens. 1, people get a pig and it gets way bigger than they ever thought it would be and they weren't prepared for it. So they want to get rid of it. Other people get a pig and think it's going to be like a dog where you can just like leave a bowl out and go away for 8 hours and it's going to be fine. That's not true. Or people get them and don't think like, maybe I should research, am I allowed to have a pig where I live?
Ooh.
Like, does my HOA allow it? Does the city zoning allow it? And so a lot of people have got these pigs and got themselves in a bad situation and now they need to get rid of the pig. And so we just started to see this big problem. And so we were blessed with the means that we have. And so we bought a 5-acre ranch and the mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, rehome pigs. And we did that for a number of years. Now, rescue is not anywhere near as sexy as like what you see on social media. Like it's a shit show. It's not pretty. With pigs especially, we get calls and emails and DMs every day. Like, I have this pig. If you don't come rescue it, I'm going to slaughter it and eat it tomorrow. Like, you just get these like nasty messages all the time. We couldn't publish our address because like our other friends in the same space, like they'd wake up and they'd have like 10 pigs in their front yard in the morning.
Oh, geez.
People just drop off in the middle of the night. Like it was just not anywhere near as like pretty as you'd want it to be.
Yeah.
And then you're going into these ugly situations where pigs, they can start breeding when they're like a few months old and they breed in, large litters. And so these people have no clue what they were getting into. And they started with 2 pigs. And before you know it, they have, 60 pigs. And you're coming into these situations trying to figure out, how to help these people that had no clue what they were doing, aka were stupid. It was just not anywhere near as fun as what we had wanted it to be. So we still are involved in that world, but more just brokering them now, not actually taking them in. So more somebody's like, I want a pig, says I have a pig, and then we'll just connect them together and make it happen that way. Because it's a tough stuff. And like, you can't see those messages. You can't unhear those phone calls. And those things stick with you.
Yeah, I was very much for years involved in dog rescue and BSL legislation here in Canada, breed specific law, and that kind of stuff. But I found out after a couple of years, like, I'm not emotionally built to be hands-on in rescue. Like, we're talking, going on the reserve and where the dogs are abused and neglected and being bred for money. And I would steal them, like, straight up. I'd first I'd offer you money. If you don't want to give me money, I'm coming back at 2 a.m. with some guys and we're stealing all your dogs, right? It got to me after a while. So my husband, he's a huge animal lover too. He's like, let's buy a ranch, let's buy a farm. And I said, no, because then we are limited to space and we're getting hands-on again. Let's have a foundation so that we can give the money where it's needed, no matter where we are in the world, and make a bigger impact, hopefully that way, without affecting my mental health. So I totally get you. Like, I feel like I used to cry every day. It was just, it's not what people think it is,
Yeah, it's tough.
Definitely not. Okay, let's talk about something happier that I love. Let's talk about AI. So you got quite a team over there. How are you implementing AI into production, and how are you implementing it into attraction, if you are?
Yeah, I mean, there's the generic, like, simple ways of just helping with like listing descriptions and stuff like that, which, might seem light, but some of these agents have zero ability to write anything. So, the fact that they can just, either upload pictures and they can have a description written for them, or they can just put a few key remarks and have something written, like, that's, something so simple. But at our volume, we're sitting here in the middle of April now. We've already sold like 400 houses this year. So, we do a lot of listings. And so that's very, very helpful. But then I use it a lot. Like, copywriting to me is one of the most valuable skill sets there is. It's something that's massively undervalued. And I have a large following on social. So I use it a lot, not to write 100% of the things that I want to talk about, but to get me maybe 75% of the way to where I want to get to. And, I like to write a lot of long copy stuff, because long copy crushes on social right now. Yeah. So writing long copy posts and using AI could kind of get me started, and then taking what it gives me and turning it into my own, like, saving me massive, massive amounts of time on things like that. I do a lot of public speaking. One of the ones I'm most in love with right now is called Gamma, Gamma. Yeah. Gamma is insane. Like, you just take your ugly slide deck and throw it in there and it makes it pretty. Or you could just take a very simple concept of, like, do a 10 slide presentation on rescuing potbelly pigs, and, like, you literally have an entire 10 slide presentation that's gorgeous with images and graphs and charts and stuff. Like, it makes you look like such a freaking badass. So a lot of times
too, did you know that Gamma, you can do a website and a social post?
You could do website. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. That one is like one of the wildest ones I've seen. And I will just take, a slide deck that's just words and no images or anything, and load it in there. And seconds later, you have just like a banger presentation, which is super helpful, because a lot of times I'm speaking with like little to no notice. And so when I can show up and have a top-notch presentation, like, there's a lot of value in that. And I'm big on brand. And so you always want your brand to be seen as like, man, that presentation stood out. You don't want to be the one that stood out because of how ugly it was. So just having a pretty presentation, that matters. Like, if you're focused on brand and, being high end and being somebody that people respect, like, the quality of your presentations matters. And those ones that have the best imagery and graphics and charts, like, those stand out. So using it for that. My daughter just started a business. She's 8 years old. She started a business. She built the whole thing off of AI, came up with the ideas for the business on there, the name of the business, what to do, when to do it, like, literally built an entire business. And she's like, Gogo, obviously you're on team Gogo. Gogo's like an advisor sort of for my daughter. Gogo's got her 2 comma club awards. My daughter hit her 1 comma club
So
already. So
great.
she's done like $1,800 in sales, which for an 8-year-old is pretty freaking cool. So she built out like an entire business using AI just to come up with the name, the concept, deliverables, all that stuff, which is super cool. So that's been a fun one recently.
I love to hear that. I really love to hear that. In China, it's mandatory for children to learn AI in school right now, which is, I feel like the US and Canada should be following suit. But
Yeah.
I got some stuff for you actually. Now,
Yeah, let's do it.
hearing that you're very listing heavy, I build like GPT. So I built like EXP's marketing team, all of their stuff, and Leo his GPT. And so that's kind of like my thing. So I have a GPT for agents that are listing agents, and you upload the pictures like we talked about. It'll ask you for the address, and then it'll give you your listing description, but it doesn't stop there. It gives your feature sheet copy, your ad campaign, your e-blast, and your captions for all social media for your announcing your new listing. And it does it like in seconds. So I want to send that to you after this to give to everybody on your team. But I have something else I want you to try. So
Okay.
I'm big at using AI at high level. So when we look at AI, everybody's talking about the Industrial Revolution. Fair. Okay. AI can outproduce and basically like just, automate everything. And that's fantastic. But we need to also look at it as more of a renaissance as well, right?
Okay.
So the ideas and the companies that are going to be built with it. So that's how I use it. And I did a lot of deep research on the top CEO, COO, CFO, and CMO in the world. How do they think? How do they make decisions? How do they problem solve? And I got, a couple 100-page report, personality types, the whole bit. I built a GPT out of that can advise you on growing any business. So I'm going to share that with you because I think that you would really appreciate something like that, because when we're talking about building companies and businesses, it's high level. Like AI isn't low level anymore. AI is high level. Like a year ago, I was replacing all low level employees in my company with AI. Now I'm hiring up AI. Like that's what's happening right now for everybody listening. And this is, people are building entire companies without any employees. It's just all AI.
Yeah, that's wild.
So yeah, I'm going to send that to you as well. Okay. So I have a question for you. If you had one do-over, tell me like your biggest real estate missed opportunity, or, the decision you wish you would have made differently. What would that one thing be? What would that one do-over be?
Yeah, so this was like 4 or 5 years ago. We were awarded the contract with Zillow to be their agent when they were buying homes. So for a year or so, Zillow got into the whole iBuyer business of buying homes, and they chose us to be their agent for all of San Diego, which was a huge opportunity. The mistake I made there was like, that was a multi-million-dollar a year opportunity. And I made a hire that was just not the right hire. I went with somebody that I knew very well and I trusted a lot, but maybe wasn't the most qualified for that particular position.
Okay.
And it was a really bad hire. And not that it's the right person, just the wrong seat for them. And I wish I would have realized it quicker that I put her in the wrong seat, because that not moving her, not realizing she was in the wrong seat ended up costing us that account, and that ended up going over to somebody else. And it was just a good lesson. And I've had multiple other lessons throughout my career where I've had the right person, just put them in the wrong seat. And understanding the importance of not only right person, but right seat as well. That is a mistake that I've made a few times in my career that has really, really cost me. And something I think everybody should be conscious of is you got to make sure not only is somebody the right person, but they're in the right seat on the bus. I did something similar too, where I took one of my top agents and turned him into my sales manager. And it was a disaster because, top agents don't understand, like, they're top agents for a reason. They show up every day and they work and they push through things, and they say they're going to do something, they do it. And then they sit down and they try to coach the other agents on the team, and the other agents don't have any of those qualities, right? They'll sit down and build this whole plan for them of like what they're going to do, and then they don't do it. That's hard to comprehend if you're a top agent. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you said you were going to do it, you didn't do it. But like, that's tough. And so he ran a lot of people off the team because he was so tough on them because he couldn't understand what was wrong with them. And then we struggled to attract females to the team because we had this strong male dominant personality as the person everybody was talking to. And so for a long time, that hurt our ability to attract females onto our team. And we just ended up having a conversation like, look, you're an amazing person. This is just not the role for you. Like, and he wasn't happy either, right? He's beating his head against the wall. Why do these guys not work? And so we moved him from that role into a different seat. And last year he made like $800,000. Like he had his best year ever. And he's having way more fun because he's not trying to get these people to fall in line and do the work that they say they're going to do. So another example of like, he was the right person for the company. He was just in the wrong seat. Those are probably two of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made. And both of those were right people, wrong seat situations.
So our audience are real estate agents. Some of them are coaches. Some of them are business owners. Because I've built this new company from scratch. Like I was a real estate agent for 15 years, but this company is now from scratch. And I'm trying to do all of the things. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like this. We don't know exactly what decision to make. So how bad is it to make the wrong decision in the moment if it's recoverable? Like how do we gauge that? Does that make sense? Like how do we gauge that? Because we got to make the decision.
You're going to make bad decisions. Otherwise, if you don't make bad decisions, you're not making enough decisions. So you have to make decisions. You just have to catch yourself when you made the wrong decision and course correct sooner than later. Because if it's not going well right now and you give it, right, you sit down, you have a meeting, you identify the problem, you build a plan to improve. If it doesn't improve with, according to the plan that you put in place, you just have to cut bait and move on. And then ultimately, obviously, if you put somebody in that role and it was the wrong seat, that's recoverable. But if it's also the wrong person, then just cut that person and move forward. I think that's essential to do is you have to recognize when something's not going well. And you have to check the mindset of like, oh, well, we'll turn it around. We'll turn it around. Like usually once it's going in a certain direction, it's pretty hard to turn it around, especially if it's a person. Like it's really hard to change people. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you just have to identify you have either the wrong person or they're in the wrong seat or a combination of both. And you just have to adjust quickly. Where people get in trouble is holding on to somebody for too long that they should have cut loose. And that's the same in a freaking relationship too, right? Like, I mean, in life, the longer you hold on to these things, the more damage you do. So if you identify a problem, you got to move quicker on them. Mm-hmm. And we do that with our agents all the time too, is like we cut a lot of agents. Like an average month, we're cutting 4 to 5 agents from our team. Because we're going to give them a certain period of time. We're going to give them the blueprint, as we've talked. And if they choose not to follow that, then they will get cut. And that's okay. We look at it more as like, this isn't for them. This is to help them. Because clearly, if you can't succeed in our world, it's not us, it's you. And so let's end this and you go do you somewhere else. But we're big on that. Like my goal every month to bring 10 agents onto the team. Cut 2 during training. Usually one of those is cut because either they're showing up late, they're disrespectful. Sometimes they're just stupid. Because like you could interview for 2 hours or 3 hours and hide your stupidity. But then you go to my training class for 2 weeks. Like you can't hide your stupidity for 2 weeks. We typically will cut 1 for one of those reasons. And then one will usually tap out and realize like this isn't for them. Yeah. And then we have a minimum you have to hit by month 6. And we'll usually cut 2 more at month 6. And there's a minimum at month 12. And we'll cut 2 more at month 12. You just got to be willing to cut. You can't hold on to things forever.
Yeah. Now we're talking about high level. Let's bring it a little bit like mid-level now for like individual agents. An agent comes to you, Kyle, and they're like, I have $20,000 and no deals in the pipeline and I need to invest this in the best way possible. Like, what do I do with this money to ensure that I won't be in this position again? It can be anything. Kyle, what do they do?
I would just go out to coffees, lunches, and dinners every day with as many people as possible. Okay. Like everybody that you already know, just set up as many coffees, as many lunches, as many dinners as you possibly can. Like that's where I would spend the money. There's no better investment than investing in relationships. Yeah. So I would take every one of those dollars and just set up those things and just go connect with as many people as possible. Start with the people that you already know. And then as you're meeting with those people, let them know, hey, here's who I'm looking to bring into my world. Who do you know? And just build from one relationship to the next and the next. you can't, other than investing in yourself, investing into relationships is right there as, number
I
two.
love that because I've like literally never had a meal with somebody in my SOI that didn't, turn into, hey, let me introduce you to this person. Like, you are so right. You are so right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's like, oh, what can I lead source or, whatever. Like, no, just invest it into the relationships. If you want to invest in something physical, I would invest in open house signs, right? Because you could use those over and over and over and over again. And obviously this varies by market. Like your clients got to get on a dog sled and go to an igloo. It's different there. Like down here, we get a lot of people that come to our open houses, right? Like a good open house, we'll have 20, 30 groups come through an open house. Like that's a really good usage of time. So if I was going to spend it on something other than lunches and dinners and coffees, then it would be open house signs, because now I can reuse those over and over and over, weekend after weekend after weekend. And I think open houses are an amazing way for an agent to build their business or to break into a farm. I still do open houses today. I love doing them. Like if I could sit in a house and people are going to walk through the door and I get to shake their hand and have a conversation with them, that's amazing.
Right.
I'll do that all day before I go chase internet leads.
Yeah, 100%. I was the person who would never call a lead. I hired my ex-fiance to be my ISA, who literally was in corporate sales and did not need the job, but just did it because he was family, right? And yeah, as soon as he left, I had to stop the lead gen because nobody was calling them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to call. I just know myself. I'm not going to call them. Okay. So let's look at like the popular real estate rules or the trendy strategies. There's so many of them. Which one is your pet peeve that you think is absolutely nonsense right now?
Social media, all of it.
No.
I think every agent is just trying to find every excuse under the sun to not talk to people.
Yeah.
And they just want to go on social. Like ultimately, like, look, if you're posting more stories in a day than you're making phone calls, like you're doing this wrong. Mm-hmm. For every one agent you could show me who's wildly successful on social media, I will show you 1,000 that are wildly successful because they wake up, they make phone calls, they have conversations, and they build relationships every day.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'll show you that 1,000 times over.
Okay, but
I think that people just want social media. They think it's easy and they can avoid having to talk to people. But like, look, what are you going to go generate the leads on social media so you can not call them? Like, yeah. Right? I mean, you just admitted you were guilty of it yourself. Like agents are doing this all the time. They're paying for leads, right? They'll take that 20,000 we talked about. They'll go buy leads from something so they can not call them. Like you don't need to go buy leads. Call anybody. Right. Go knock on doors. You don't have to go spend $1. But the problem is you want to go spend money thinking that like your deals are going to fall in your lap. No, leads are going to fall in your lap. And then you got to call the leads and you got to do something with them. So I see way too many people spending way too much time on social media and they're not making any phone calls. And so the analogy I give my team is like a real estate agent who won't make phone calls is like a barista at Starbucks that won't make coffee. Like that's not going to work, right? You're going to get fired from Starbucks. You're going to get fired as a realtor if you will not make phone calls. Like you have to talk to people. So just so you know, I ran my whole business on social media, like my entire career. Right. There's 1 in 1,000 though. From like Twitter, back when it was like Twitter or Instagram, like posting pictures of myself. Like I was that agent, but I made money doing it. Yeah. I didn't buy lead, like I didn't put money into ads. I would use it to attract. That's how I grasp the agent attraction concept before a lot of people. Yeah. But now what you said is so true. I feel like, the other thing that I did was SOI. I worked my SOI properly. So it wasn't just social media. Now with the launch of AI search engines and the fact that traditional, like I don't think Gen Alpha is even going to understand what a traditional search engine is, being recognizable and recommended and discoverable by AI search engines, AI search agents now, right? That we're building that have search capabilities. I am a strong believer in social media, not as the only thing they're doing, but just because it is the easiest way to get a massive amount of value out there, if it's valuable, to be picked up by the AI search engines, because SEO's changed now. We're not talking keywords anymore. That shit's over. We're talking value, right? But I do agree, you have to be having the conversations too. You can't just live online. I was a social media realtor who was also at every
restaurant opening in Toronto and, you know, out every night physically in front of people. So like there is a combination factor there. And I think that, Kyle, I think that people are just looking for an easy way to do things. And they don't understand that even when I was prospecting on social media, I was doing it 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So like, I think they're just looking for an easy out, an easy way to make money. And yeah, so how are you guys preparing on your end at all for AI search engines and discoverability?
Yeah, so let me just close the loop on the social media side. Like the problem that I see is there's too much focus on media, not enough focus on social.
Yes.
And let's be real, before it was called social media, it was called social networking. If we can just go back to the root of what these platforms were built for, which is social networking, you can be wildly successful on them. But people right now, they just want to create videos and they want to dance and do dumb shit on there. Like, good luck. But if you actually took all that time you were spending to create these videos, instead of spending an hour creating a video, and you spend an hour just going and engaging with everybody that you already follow, especially your sphere, and you actually engage with them, not just like gave a heart to everything they posted, but were like, hey, Carrie, I saw little Timmy scored a goal in the soccer game over the weekend. How's he liking soccer? And now you're going to respond back. And then I'm going to respond, right? We use this strategy called answer and ask, or acknowledge and ask. So go comment for an hour on social on everybody's post. And then they're going to respond back and you're going to get into a conversation. And then it goes back to that saying, like, nobody cares what you have to say until people know how much you care. Yeah. Well, social media follows that mindset because if it sees that Kyle and Carrie just went back and forth 2 or 3 times, guess what happens the next time Kyle puts a post up?
Exactly.
Carrie's going to see it. What happens when Carrie goes on? All right, you're going to see my posts. Like, we're going to see each other's posts because social media is like, oh, Carrie and Kyle must care about each other because they're going back and forth. Now we're going to see each other's posts moving forward. Yeah. So if you actually spent more time engaging with people and then you created some media, you'd have, right, be social first, media second, you'd be much more successful. But right now, everybody's just doing media and no social. Nobody's seeing your fucking media because you're not being social. And then even if they do see your media and they start commenting or engaging, you don't even acknowledge them. But think about it, you walked into a party and you got this, you know, banging new outfit on and somebody's like, hey, Carrie, great outfit. And you just kept walking, didn't say shit. That would be rude. That was right? So awful. But people are doing it all day long on social right now. They're creating this video and people are like, oh, that house looks so cool or whatever. And you're just like, meh, I'm not going to acknowledge you. Like, that's crazy.
You got to see people's faces when they ask me about social media and I say, are you DMing the people on your personal feeds? Because they're like, I don't post anything about real estate on my personal Facebook. I'm like, why? That's like the largest database of people who know you and like you. What the hell are you doing? You should be working it like your database. Are you messaging them? Are you asking them how their family is? And they look at me and they're like, that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, oh, right? Like, who cares about dancing on TikTok? Your family, your friends, and people who've actually met you and like you are on Facebook. Go back there and start over again.
Yeah. Totally. So then we'll come back to the AI search. We actually just signed like $1.5 million listing this weekend from somebody who found us on ChatGPT. So yeah, I think people that aren't focused on that are crazy. Now, did we do that by intention? No, that happened because of reputation that we built and stuff online. So if you have any tips of how to engineer showing up when people are prompting, I'm all ears, because that happened because of reviews that we had. And, you know, you got to figure out all the different AI platforms, right? Just do a search in your area. Who's the best realtor in Toronto? Who's the best realtor in San Diego? Look at what the results come back. It'll tell you where it got the information from, and maybe you want to put some focus on that. So, I mean, that's the part that I do know, but I'm all ears to what else.
Well, Kyle, what I want to see everybody focus on, because traditionally we were looking for website traffic. We're matching keywords. That's what SEO is, keyword to keyword. And niching down wasn't advantageous because the algorithm would never pick it up and get you in front of enough people that would match with that. Now, because the AI search engines, like, think of it as like little spiders all over the internet, they're seeking out the value. And the more you niche down and the more long tail keywords you're using and the more you're communicating in natural language, because here's another thing. I don't know who even types to ChatGPT anymore. Like I talk to it, and people are going to be using ChatGPT search to speak as well. So the whole SEO concept is changing. You're probably getting discovered, a huge reason, Kyle, because of your social media. You bring high value and you've been doing it for a long time. I tell people it's the easiest way to get really a lot of valuable content out there. What can you do with your website on that kind of scale? Not even close. You can't even touch it. The AI search engines are on socials, right? YouTube is huge as well. I have some tips. I'm actually, one of your guys like asked me to speak next month inside FFM. So I'm going to do a whole thing on AI search engines, just so you know, and AI agents, because we're also in the age of like prompt engineering's dead. You don't need to do it. We have this thing called AI agents. You don't need to know a thing. If you can talk on your phone, you're good. You know what I mean? Let me show you how to use it. Like this is over. That's the past. We're moving quickly here. Let's keep up. So I'm going to do that. So we'll have a whole conversation around that. But because you have such a great brand and bring so much value online, and you have been, you're going to get picked up by the AI search engines already. Like you're in a good position. But just another reason why agents who don't have a digital footprint and a digital presence, other outside of just solds or whatever the hell they're putting up there, they're going to get wiped. Like they're just going to get completely wiped out and they're going to be invisible. And like, I'm not here to like knock anybody's business. Everybody has different goals. If you just want to work for your parents' friends for the rest of your life, that's okay. I'm not here to judge you. But like, if you don't and you want to actually build a brand, you're going to need to do something about this, right? So I'm happy to hear that you already, I'm not surprised that you're already being recommended by AI. Yeah, I'm super happy to hear that. Okay, so one more question, because I feel like I could keep you here forever talking about this shit. But one more question. Give me the one tech tool you can't live without right now.
So I already gave you Gamma, which is like the sexy one. Let me look through. What am I really using the most lately? Just looking at my phone to make sure I give you one that will be impactful.
And ChatGPT or Grok?
I'm Grok. I'm Team Grok for sure. Yeah, like of all the platforms, just because it has personality, and right, I'm talking to it way more than I'm typing to it. Grok is just way more fun to type to.
Have you used any of their agents yet? Like their personality agents? Oh, they're wild. We've got like the conspiracy theorist. We got like the not a doctor. You have like somebody who literally calls you a piece of shit every day. It's hilarious. You got to check it out. It's on the app, so you can't access them within X. You have to use like the Grok app. And big update to Grok last week. It's now upgraded its memory, so it will remember your conversations. Like that was a big like bottleneck for me moving away from ChatGPT. Right, it was the ability to learn about me and just stay up to date. So that's great for you.
So here's the one that I think a lot of people don't know exists inside of Instagram. This will tie back to social. Okay. Why social is so important is once you start adding people on Instagram, after you add them, then you have the ability to add them as favorites. And then what I love is taking all of those people that whether I'm trying to attract them into my team to fast forward or to work, as a buyer or seller with my team, all of those people that I'm in active pursuit of, I will add them as my favorites. And then within Instagram, once you've added somebody as a favorite, at the top of the screen, you'll see Instagram with a little down arrow. If you tap on that, you'll have following and then you will have favorites. And so you can isolate everybody that you follow down solely to your favorites and only see what your favorites are posting. So what it does is it blocks out all the noise and all the distractions of everybody else and all the shit that they're doing. And so if you're going to commit 15 minutes a day to it, if you just look at your entire following list, you're going to see all kinds of shit that you don't need to see. I don't have a lot of time, so I need to be focused. So for me, when I do get those 15 minutes where I want to go and engage with people, instead of seeing everybody, I can isolate it down only to the people that I have saved as favorites and see exactly what they're posting. And you can do something similar to that on Facebook as well. Mm-hmm. That way you're spending the time engaging with the people that you want to, as opposed to just everybody.
This is great. This is gold. This is why I asked you to be on this podcast. That is the best advice. I have some advice for you. you should make me a favorite because I literally will keep you up to date every day on AI. You will always know more than everybody else if you do that.
That's good. I will do that.
Kyle, so great to have this conversation with you. I appreciate you coming on so much, and thank you for all the wisdom and the advice you shared with the audience. So I appreciate you.
For sure. Yeah. If you guys are watching, you want to stay connected, hit me up on Instagram. Keep it simple at Kyle Whissel. Also, if you want to get on like a podcast, our YouTube channel, all the other stuff we're doing, it's all on thewhisselway.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle.
All right. Thanks, Carrie. We'll see you later.